So I'm going to show you a little bit of coding for running records. And the book that I'm going to be using is the book Pickles Gets Lost. And we're going to be using a recording of a child who actually read the book. I'm going to follow along with the coding, and then we'll stop and show you what was really in the text. So before you start the running record, you always want to put the name and the date that the running record was given, and I'm not going to put the child's name on there today. And then you want to fill in what the title of the book is, and the title of the book goes right here in this spot. And you want to put the level of the book in that same location, and also the word count. It could be the word count of the book or the word count of the running record that you've taken. We don't put the title of the book up here where it says text titles. That's for after the fact, because right now you don't know if the book is going to be easy, instructional, or hard. So it goes in this spot, and later we'll look at the top of the page. So you're going to hear a little bit of the story, Pickles Gets Lost. And I'll code along.
Said, let's have a picnic. Dad said, I will make some sandwiches. Can Pickle come too? Asked Danny. Danny said, Dad. Yes, said Dad. I will make a sandwich for Pickle. The family got in the car. They drove and drove.
Try it.
Here's a good place for a picnic, said Mom. They all sat on the blanket and take some sandwiches.
Okay, so we're going to stop it right there because there's quite a bit of work that was just happening in those first 4 pages. So I will show you the text when I go back to do the coding. One of the things is I didn't put the actual word underneath. You don't want to worry about doing that while you're taking the running record because it takes up too much time. So I'm going to go through next and put what the actual word was underneath. And when you take the running record, you're going to make it look just like the words on the page. So if there's 5 words in the first line, you would have 5 checks. 2 words in the next line, 2 checks. So it makes it easier to go back and fill in the parts that were missing or incorrect. And you can see this is messy. I'm not neat with running records. Okay, so now that I've gone back and filled those in, we're going to start page 3. And the first error is the text said, "Can Pickles come too?" asked Danny. And the child read, "Can," and then she repeated, so we have the R there. Can Pickle come too? And so when I'm coding that, that is going to be an error. Now she continues to call the dog Pickle throughout the book, It won't count the rest of the time because it's a proper noun, but the first time it is an error. And it looks like pickles, so I would circle visual. And can pickle doesn't, it's a name, so it could be the name is Pickle, so I guess the structure would fit. And also the meaning would fit because the name of the story is Pickles Gets Lost. We talked about pickles, she just didn't have that whole thing there. So I would say meaning, structure, and visual. The next error is she hesitated for the Ask Danny, and then when she did say Danny, she did Dan, and then she said Danny. So it's not counted as an error. She sounded it out, she broke it into parts, and then she did put it all back together. So you can see that I indicated that she sounded it out in 2 chunks, and then the check means she put it all back together. She omitted the word yes, so I have the dash for the omit, and she read, said Dad, and then went back and said yes, said Dad. So there's the dash for the omit, said Dad, and then she went back to repeat at the yes mark, and the self-correct comes down there because she self-corrected when she did the reread. She didn't do it immediately. So when we analyze that, we would just simply mark the first one was an omit. And then the reason she self-corrected, first of all, the visual, I think she noticed that she had skipped over a word, but the other thing is to just say, can Pickles come too? Asked Danny, said Dad, doesn't sound right. So I think she knew also that there had to be something else there, so I think it was the structure that helped her out to solve that. On the next page, the reading was, the family got in the car, and she read the family. So I marked the repeat, and she said fam, then she went back and said the family. So I had to mark where she went back to the beginning, and then she self-corrected. And again, at the end of the sentence, she reread the part, got in the car. So I indicated that reread and how far back she went to do the rereading. They drove and drove. There's 2 errors there. I guess I better analyze this self-correct. She started it off with just visual information, and she fixed it with, you can see, not well in the copy that I have, so I'll show you with the actual book. You can see in the picture is the family. So I would say meaning, and also the structure, the family would sound right. And drove, that's 2 errors, and both times it didn't sound right. It doesn't make sense with the story, so I would say it's a visual error both times. And I actually did something incorrect on this one, but we're going to talk about this next error where the word was hears, and it was hard to hear on the video, but it sounded like she was making this sound for the end of the word, and then the H and the S sound, so I had recorded those. So I do think she was working to process that word, and then I prompted her to try it. So the Y is a you try, and she did say the word hears. So there's not an error there. But the part I did incorrect is I prompted for you try after she clearly already did try that. So if they're trying the word and not getting it, you would go with the told. You try is just an incorrect response to her. So that was not an error because she did say the correct word. And then on the back, she had read correctly. They all sat, and then she right away said set. I'm not sure why she did that. Visually, they look similar, and also I'm not sure if she was thinking, if it's hard to say exactly what she was thinking, but I'm going to go with they all set. It could be they all set the picnic up. The structure would work, but also I would go with meaning here because they set things on the blanket, so meaning could be a possibility as well. And then she had a self-correct for blanket. She did the bull and then at. So she was attacking it visually, but then from the picture you could get that there was a blanket. And the last error we'll take a peek at, it was, and they ate some sandwiches, and she said so right away she's looking, using a part of the word, and she said take. It was a visual attempt, so we'll mark that with visual. And they take, it could be structure also, so I'm actually going to count this as two attempts. The t would be visual, and then take could be fitting in with structure, and so I would bracket to show that she had 2 attempts there. So that is some basic coding for running records.